It's India-Pakistan. It's a World Cup game. It's 38 for 1, chasing 150, 5.3 overs, you're walking in.
I was really under pressure. It was very difficult for me to get power behind the ball. I was called a touch player, someone depending a lot on timing and technique, which I still do, just because of the demand of the game and how the game is going. So we started working a lot on my bat swing.
Right. First of all, do you look at the comment section at all?
When things didn't go my way, which every cricketer has, it backfired on me.
Right.
And like, okay, this world can be cruel. I'm just a 17-year-old girl and I just want to.
Welcome back to Cricket by Jazbate. Today is a very special episode for a lot of reasons, especially because of the guest that we have, but also because of an announcement. So the guest that we have is a guest of milestones. The first time around she was here was when we turned one in another YouTube channel that is almost obsolete at this point. But now we are here with another announcement that is every Monday onwards, we'll have an Indian women's segment. So you guys already know we put out 2 videos per week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Wow. Tuesdays and Fridays. But from now on, we'll be covering Indian women's team every Monday. So we will be an Indian channel that covers the Indian cricket team as a whole and not just the men's cricket. And of course, talking about our guest, we should talk about the before because she's come on our channel before. And so the first time around when she was here, she had not played a lot of games. She's close to 100 international games with around 1,000 international runs, but she's done a lot more since.
Yeah, she's in fact done a lot since then. She's got 3,000 plus runs across formats in international cricket. She's now a test cricketer for India. She's got her maiden international century. She's played over 200 T20 games across the world in different leagues. But above all, she's still the same fun person that we knew her to be. So Jemmy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys. I mean, that was such a good introduction. Thank you so much.
Thanks
I'm humbled.
Appreciate
I don't know what to say, honestly, but thank you. Honestly, I think after coming on your YouTube channel, I think things have changed for me in my life. So thanks. I owe you guys. Thank you.
Too sweet of you.
I don't know if it's on us. It's a lot of your work. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's address the elephant in the room. Right, a couple of days ago was the WPL final.
It was.
And you unfortunately was in the losing end. But to take things a little more seriously, for you as an athlete, now you have a little bit of break. We understood it's not much of a break, but you do have a little bit of break. But for you as an athlete, after losing in the final, how do you detach yourself from that? Like, do you let your emotions flow through personally? Or do you tell yourself that another game, another loss, and it's fine? And then what do you do as teammates? Because it's not just you who lost the game, but you as teammates who lost the game.
Yeah, I think for us as a Delhi team, it's even more hard.
Yeah, we do.
Because you know why. So I mean, for those who don't know, this is our third final consecutive. For 3 years, we've been in the finals, but we lost all 3 years. So if I can be absolutely honest, it's hard because you think about it, you put your hopes and your dreams, you're like, okay, this is our year. And you get like full hope, full confidence, full josh mein you go. And then you end up losing. It just doesn't work out for not once, not twice, but thrice.
Right.
So I don't know. It is hard. It was hard for the team also. I think last year's was even more hurtful because I think the kind of cricket we played throughout, we dominated, and top of the table all 3 years. This year, I don't know, somewhere I think we just were better in handling those emotions. Still there, it's like slow poison. Like it keeps creeping in little by little. But yeah, as a team, everyone was hurting, honestly. But it was the last night. We don't know next year if we are going to have the same teams.
True.
So I think Meg spoke in the team meeting that, above all, yes, we just gave it our all. We can't complain about that. We didn't put in the effort or the hard work or we didn't plan. We did everything. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
True.
But the good thing is that the relationship we've made here, it's like one of the best teams we've been. I personally also, and the entire, I think everyone would agree to that one of the best teams we've been a part of. And, sometimes cricket's hard. Like just before coming in, I read that someone put Meg's picture and Cappy's picture, and I think Jimmy Nisham. Nisham, sorry. Yeah, his quote, kids don't play cricket. And I was like, that's absolutely true. When things go your way, you love playing the sport. But sometimes when it doesn't go your way, you're like, why am I even playing? But I think that's the beauty of sport. And the best part is that you don't get to do it alone. Like, it's not just you hurting. Everyone's hurting. And everyone's trying to reach out and help others. and help others get there. So I think, as a team, we did that a lot. We kept consoling each other. But I think one thing we will cherish is the bond we've shared as a Delhi team and the environment everyone have taken efforts to make. I think that is something that I will remember and I will try and implement wherever I go. So a lot of positives, but at the same time, it still hurts. And for me personally, I think I like to let my emotions out and not suppress it. Maybe cry a little, just let it out. And once it's out, then I can, pick myself back up and be the joyful Jemmy I always am. But
That is good to hear, though. I mean, sorry to cut you off, but like there are a lot of, especially athletes, who suppress their feelings and think that is the way to go about things. Which is one way to go about it, of course. But like the fact that you do express it and the fact that people can hear it, it's good to know that people, even at the highest level, let their emotions flow and you don't have to just hold it in.
Yeah, I think that is extremely important, especially because the mental aspect becomes so important in the game.
Yeah.
But even in all of this, there was a silver lining. There was that video you put out on Instagram where you were giving that plushie to Meg Lanning.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? And also just Meg Lanning as a captain and a character, because she's been vastly successful as a captain, one of the best we've seen. So what are some quirks or things that stand out in her that you'd like to imbibe?
Yeah. So it's a tradition after every game. Obviously, we have a player of the match officially. But that we call it the Tiggy, if I'm pronouncing it right. So that's the player. The team decides who gets that. So if, for example, I got it last time, it's my responsibility to carry it for the next game, and I decide the next game who's the team's player of the match. And I think I couldn't help but give it to Meg. And I think Shikadi and Tracy ma'am were there with me, and they were like, you got to give it to Meg. Because I think what she's done with this team, just leading from the front, I know in between it was hard when she retired and she was going through a lot of stuff. But just whenever I see her on the ground, she just puts everything else aside and puts the team first. And I think as a captain, as a leader, that is something to admire and something I love seeing. And, just seeing your captain being so involved in this team and giving her 100%, it makes all of us, it rubs off on us. You want to give it your all. And I think that is one thing for me. And the other thing for me is how Meg is so aggressive in her thinking, but at the same time calm. That is a very rare quality. And that is something she possesses so well. So I've seen it live. I've seen it so many. DC is known to play their last ball thrillers.
My God,
But I think it was in one of the RCB games last year where we won by 1 run. I think 1 ball, 2 runs required. And Meg was like, just the way she was, the poker face. And after the game, I went and asked her, like, Meg, weren't you nervous? Because we all were nervous. She's like, oh, Jemmy, if you just knew what was going inside. I was like, okay, she's human. She's human. But she's like, one thing she told me and I remember is like, I know as a captain and as a leader, if I am standing strong there and I am calm, my team is calm. And I said, that sends such a big message.
Like, do you feel that as a teammate on the field, as a fielder, when your captain's calm, you feel calm?
100%. 100%. And also, I've led a lot of teams, so I can relate. And I know what a bowler feels somewhere. And I've heard from bowlers also that, even if they get hit for a boundary, but when the captain is there and clapping, they're able to go out. Imagine they know they bowled a very bad ball. They get hit. They had disappointed captors yelling and blasting. How are they going to bowl the next ball? Which, sometimes in emotion, it's very difficult. But I think Meg's that person, that the calm. She, okay, what's happened has happened. Next ball, what we can do.
I mean, our question, in fact, the next question we had was going to be on Meg's character, because from the outside,
I like how you called her Megs, as if you.
They're besties.
She's my best friend. Soon she'll be on the podcast.
Yes.
But the point was, there's a perspective of her from the outside. As you said, we do see her as someone with a very calm demeanor and all of that. Is that something that changes in the dressing room or in the hotel room? Is she very fun to hang out with? Is that?
She is fun, but with Meg, she is not like an extrovert like me. She loves her own company. She loves being with herself. But what captaincy has also made her do is step out of that comfort zone and go and speak to each and every player. And I've seen her doing that, which is not her strength. But she does it because she knows how much it means when a captain and a leader comes to you and talks to you, makes you feel important. And, Meg comes and tells you something. It's like Meg Lanning is telling me, I want to do it. And she knows that. She knows how to get the best out of each player. But also she likes having fun. She does crack a few jokes. I won't tell you how funny it is, but but she loves her coffee. You know, every morning she'll go for a walk or a run. She'll have a coffee. I think she makes her own coffee too.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So she loves her coffee.
TFO.
From Melbourne, of course.
So she carry a coffee machine around as well.
I think so. I'm not very sure. I've not gone to a room
Australian
yet.
players do that.
I will ask her.
Yeah.
But okay, so coming to the WPL, obviously 3 seasons in now, it's been a good success. At least that's how it's been from the outside.
Yep.
You of course have the best seat in the office. You have seen the WPL grow from the start. Do you see it having made a difference, like even for say aspiring young girls who want to play cricket or people who are already in the system? Is that an incentive to want to work harder? How do you view the WPL itself?
100%. I think just seeing the kind of matches we've been having playing the WPL.
Yeah.
I think it's picked up and it's picked
For
up
sure, yeah.
massively. With each season, we've just seen growth in women's cricket, especially in Indian domestic
Yes.
cricket.
Yeah.
Like recently, when the domestic season was on, I think this is the first time ever a team has chased 390 in a 50 over game, which
Right.
is massive in and of itself.
Yeah.
So that just shows kind of where women's cricket has reached. And yeah, it's just another motivation, you know, to know that, you know, sometimes it's hard to get picked for the Indian team because obviously just 11 or 15
Right,
there.
yeah.
But when you know you have 5 teams, you have more opportunities. You know, people are not just going to pick you based on numbers, but it's also potential. It's also those impact innings.
True.
Sometimes that goes hidden, you know, as a finisher, maybe you're 15 ball 30, doing it consistently. It's a big thing as a finisher.
True.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so you know, even that sort of roles now people are taken very seriously. People are working on their power game. People are working on their fielding and their fitness. Bowlers have started bowling the knuckleballs, the Yorkers. They've already been bowling it, but it's coming out more now.
True. Yeah.
So a lot of improvement just in the domestic circuit with 3 seasons. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen ahead.
Next season, yeah.
It's going to be crazy, and at the same
sure,
time, I think everyone's even looking for it as a career. Even parents are okay for their daughters to go and play, whereas you know, few years down the line, that was not even in the question. So I think that the WPL has opened a lot of minds, and at the same time, it's pushing all of us also to work harder and raise the bar every time we play.
Because it's also become a little more competitive.
Yes.
That is so
sure,
cool.
yeah.
Moving on from the WPL, let's talk about you a little bit, okay? I don't know if you know this yourself. I don't know how stat based you really are. Like you think about your career as such, but you have an average of 30 plus in the T20 format in so many of the countries that you play in. The West Indies, Australia, South Africa, England. You average 30 plus in the T20 format. What we wanted to ask is, so there are a lot of players who go to other countries and fiddle around with their technique a lot. I know when we used to play even in different grounds in the same city, we used to fiddle around with our techniques a lot. But there are also certain players who stick with the right technique and have a change in mindset. They think, right, I need to do this, but I can stick with what I have to do. So are you the kind of player who fiddles around with the technique or the mindset? Like where do you lie in the spectrum?
I think I'm somewhere in between.
Right.
Like my technique is such that from childhood, dad and even my dad's my coach, and Prashant Shetty, he's also my coach. So both of them had made my technique in such a way that they wanted me to be an all condition, all situation player too. Right. You know, not just as an opener, not just so everything covered. So that way I am blessed that from a very young age, my basics were worked on really well. So I could say that I have good technique for all conditions and situations. But obviously when I'm playing in different countries, it wavers a little bit. Like, for example, if I'm playing, even in India, if I'm playing in Ranchi, the pitches are lower.
Right.
So for me, the only technical change I do, I bend a little more in my stance. I stay a little lower so that, you know, the meeting point is like to the height of the bounce. Whereas when I'm in Australia or England, I think nothing much changes my technique, but I'm the normal stance that I usually am. But again, it's about me assessing the conditions. Like in England, the ball comes on to the bat so well.
Correct.
You have to just play it under the eye, hit it in the gap, it's a 4. Like I enjoy playing in England. I enjoy playing in Australia. Just because of the bounce and the pace of the pitch, I think it suits my batting a lot more. So I think the only change is that I think when it gets lower, I get a little lower in my stance. But apart from that, it's about, for me, knowing on this pitch what shots I need to play.
Right.
And
how
that's
do you
the only
assess
adjustment.
that? Like, do you assess that because you're a middle order, top order batter? Do you assess that looking at other batters, or do you assess that right when you walk onto the pitch?
It depends. So firstly, in practice, we do get to see
Correct.
the pitches.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Yeah,
try
of
and
course.
make assumptions.
Yeah.
Not 100. I get it wrong a lot of times, but I try to figure out, okay, there's grass on this pitch. It's really hard, means it's going to bounce well. But
Right.
first 10 overs, the ball might move a little.
yeah.
So what's my strategy for the first 10 overs? So I'll play it more like, I'll watch it early and play it as late as possible so that I am able to adjust to the swing and play it better.
Right.
Then after that, I know, okay, after that, the field's going to spread. This is my game plan. This is what I have. Whereas if I'm playing in India, it depends. It depends on where we are playing. If it's a turning track,
that is true.
I know drives might be a little difficult. More of the squarer wicket shots. That's my game. So I'll try to work on how, if they bowl that ball, how I can get a single off it at least. Unless it's fully over pitch.
That is so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's fully over pitch. Because if I get a single off the good ball, then they don't know. They will either bowl it
Correct.
short or either bowl it right under my eye.
Yeah.
And once I can do that, because I play the sweep well too,
Yes,
on
you
a
do.
good length
Yeah.
ball, that's the best ball the bowler can bowl. So then it's going to become difficult for them.
That's true.
So I think more than that, it's just, for me, it's very planned, but at the same time, I react on the field.
Correct.
I know in my head what are my options, but once I go there, I just try and react as much as possible to what I'm going to do.
That is so interesting. And you as an off spinner would have hated that. Playing the sweep shot to you.
True. Sweeping's always annoying. But so, I mean, from what you've said, it does seem that you're someone who likes to do your homework,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I do.
Do you watch a lot of video footage and stuff like that? Like if there are team analysts who might
Yeah.
say, Jemmy, here's something that you can work on, or here's something that I might think someone will try.
Yeah.
Is that something you look at a lot?
I am someone, so I'll tell you my routine before a game. I like watching the videos, but not getting too much in the
Right.
detail
Right,
of
right.
technique. And now, by how much I've played, I know the basic plan every team has against me.
right.
Or if there's something new, maybe sometimes it's on the field, I realize, and then I have to be very quick in changing my plan.
Right.
But most of the thing is pretty simple, and I know what they're going to do. So I think for me, it's about mentally being switched on. Like, even if because of my back injury, I couldn't bat a lot in between. And I was someone who believed a lot in batting, hitting 150 balls every net session. But there came a point I couldn't do that. And that's when I started relying a lot more mentally, how I can prepare. So I watch videos to know, okay, if they have a variation, what is that they bowl and what they bowl in the depth and stuff. So I'm aware of what they're doing. I don't want to go there, unaware and not knowing what's happening and surprised. So I'm aware of that. And then sometimes I just sit, I close my eyes and I kind of visualize what the bowler is doing.
Right.
So my visualization, it took me a while, but I kind of figured out a different way which works for me personally.
Okay.
So a lot of times, this is one of my mentors told me that a lot of times your emotions, sometimes it gives you a very negative feeling towards a bowler.
Right.
Not every time it's bad. Sometimes it's your experience talking to you and telling you, just have a watch.
Yeah.
So I thought of it and I tried it out. He said, try, get the solution, you'll see the thought will not come back again. So I did it.
Okay.
I did it, for example, fourth stump ball coming in. Okay, I'm struggling to it. What's my option? That's like the threat ball for me. Outside off, I know I can play this, cover drive, this. How do I manage playing that ball? So then I'll sit and think, okay, if it's a T20, I might walk out for that ball and walk out across so that it's outside off, right? So the impact is outside off.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll not get LBW.
Yeah.
I walk outside off, and then how I can take a I walk here, I get a single there. If they bowl outside off, it's a cover drive. If it's here, it's a single here. Or then if it's a good ball, I'll just defend it. So now I got the answer, now I'm calmer.
Oh,
So now
wow.
I'm
Right,
well prepared for tomorrow, because that's the most threatening ball. But now I have the answer how to play that, and rest all is just easy. How I can go about with my game. So that is something that recently happened. It took me a while, because first for me, visualization to sit and think, and I could never do it. I tried a lot, We have our sports psychologist with us. It's very helpful, but it was so hard for me. But then when I started doing this sort of visualization, it just helped me. Like, I've actually practiced and I'm going in prepared for the game.
Right. Nice.
So yeah.
That is so. I could have listened to that for so long. That was so beautiful.
I hope you understood that.
No,
It was a
yeah,
bit-
100%.
Like, that's why it's so beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
it's so cool to see that you guys are doing this, like, of course you have to do this at an international level, but like, there's so much thought process even going behind it. I was going to ask you if, I don't know if you do it, but like there are a lot of batters around the world who go to different conditions and even change the kind of bat they use, have a high, middle, have a low. Are you a kind of player who fiddles around with the equipments also, like bats? Because it can be a very...
Yeah, sometimes when I go to Australia, especially Australia, England, try and use lighter bats.
Right.
When I'm in India, I use
and why is that?
It's because the bounce is a lot more and it's more quicker. So it just helps the bat go through faster. Still, comparatively, I have the heaviest bats in the team.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But,
really?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Like everyone is very fascinated by that thing, but that has just been me from childhood. Because from childhood, I've been the skinny girl who didn't have a lot of power. So dad had always given me a heavy bat, which is to cause the, because of the bat, the ball is to go for boundaries. And I've just been so used to playing with heavy bats that it's very difficult for me to change. I've tried. But then every season, I try to remove a few grams and try to make it lighter and lighter.
And has that helped you?
That has helped me.
I wouldn't have ever guessed.
Huh?
Gradually.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have ever guessed you having the heaviest bat. That is so cool. Now, there is this perception out there that a lot of overseas players are a lot more stronger and a lot more fitter and hit a lot more sixes than the Indian players. Which, if you look at the WPL stats, is not technically true. Because Shefali Verma has hit 16 sixes, second highest in the tournament. Harmanpreet Kaur 11 sixes, Richa Ghosh 13 sixes. So a lot of Indian players up there. First of all, do you think that perception is even true?
I wouldn't agree with the fact of hitting sixes because hitting sixes, for some people, it's all about strength. For some people, it's about strength and technique. For some people, it's just technique. So it's very different in cricket. If I could put it forth in this way, I feel Indians are way more skillful than the overseas players. You'll find a few who are there.
I mean, on average.
Yeah, on an average. But Indians are way more skillful. And I even thought about it. Why do people have this perception? Why even I felt that way, that, okay, these guys are so fit. What do they do differently? What I realized is the Aussies, the English people, right from a very young age, in their school, sport is always a part of their subject, if that's there. So they are very used to, most of them have played different sports and very active. Even when we play the WPL, on their off days, they'll either go and play tennis or pickleball or, they'll take a football on the ground, even in warm-up. Or the NFL is very famous. So they'll have that rugby ball and things like that. So they're very sporty nationally. And I think that is one thing right from a very young age that helps them, and it's in their genes that they're so active and so... they love moving around. Even sometimes we make fun of it and we laugh about it. But I think in the Kia Super League, Smriti asked Heather Knight, how was your off day? She's like, oh, it was very nice. I did a 17-kilometer bike ride. She's like, 17-kilometer bike ride on your off day. So I mean, that is like their off day. So I think that is one thing that helps them be so active.
Yeah, maybe it's a culture thing, like you said, like the fact that they're playing so much sport from a young age.
Because Aswin and I mean, we've had this conversation off air as well, that if it has anything to do with, say, infrastructure or the kind of coaches, but I think this makes a lot of sense in terms of the culture they brought up with. And on those very lines, you've also spoken about your power hitting, and that's something you've actively also worked on. And that's also reflective because in the last couple of years, stat-wise, your strike rate has been 130 plus, which has been your best in T20s. So what is it that you've worked on specifically? What has changed and what have you learnt about big hitting?
Yeah, I think first I'll go on the technical aspect. For me, being the structure I am, it was very difficult for me to get power behind the ball. Because I was called a touch player, someone depending a lot on timing and technique, which I still do. But I think it was just because of the demand of the game and how the game is going that we started working, my dad, Prashant, so we started working a lot on my bat swing. How can I get that bat swing through the ball, which gives the power for the ball to go. And because I had such good technique and timing, I think just adding that bat swing, I think it just gave a lot more power behind the ball, and the travel behind the ball started to increase. But I had to work really, really, really hard for it. Even to hit sixes, I think it was like for 2-3 years, dad used to every day take me on the bowling machine, step out and hit. And then finally, it comes naturally. Like I don't try to hit a six, I try to hit the gaps, but if it's timed well, it's a six. So that is
like that's the improvement, right?
That's my game. So I think the technical aspect was that, and I still do work on it a lot. The other aspect was finding my own way of getting that kind of strike rate.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, initially I thought, coming into T20s, I got to be like someone else, going out there, hitting sixes, hitting fours, because that's what T20 is all about. I tried doing that and I failed horribly, like horribly. But then my dad, few of my mentors, and even few of my friends, like close friends, not like at different occasions, kept reminding me that, hey, if you just stick to being Jemmy, and finding your way, you'll be able to score at the same rate. It might not look that flashy, but it'll be effective, as effective as that. And when I started realizing that, I started working on that a lot more, not trying to be someone else, being me, finding gaps that maybe nobody usually finds, using different parts of the crease to get those gaps, playing on the bowler's head. And I think that has helped me find something in me that I didn't know I had. That I can be as effective as maybe someone who's smacking sixes, but in a different way.
Right. That makes
I
sense.
think
That is so
helps me
cool.
a lot.
If you ever write a book, you should title it "Finding Your Way." I think that was so nice.
I'll make you guys only write it for me.
Praatibh is actually a good writer.
Yeah?
Praatibh is
take your
genuinely a
cool.
good writer.
Sorted.
Bat swing.
Oh yeah, about the bat swing.
Yeah.
Would you say that your bat speed has increased? Is that something that has caused the improvement?
Yeah. It has.
Because because the point is, a lot of people when they talk about big hitting, they always talk about power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking about your structure.
Yeah.
And so do you think the bat speed has a lot to play with that?
100%. 100% a lot. It is also more technical for me that I need to dip my shoulder down so that the bat goes up.
Okay. Okay. That's
So
much higher.
it's not just
Yeah, there's a
that,
bigger
but when
fall.
I do that,
Yeah.
it's like my entire body is being transferred into that ball. When I take that step from the hip, everything gets transferred and then I whack it. Like
That is,
so it is very technical.
Yeah, that's
but
good insight, though.
Yeah. So yeah, if you hear my dad during practice, he's always, Jemimah, take your shoulder, take your shoulder. I'm like, yeah, try. So yeah, I think that is there. And also I started using these heavy balls. You get sand balls of different weight. So I just underarm throw and I try to whack it. You whack it hard, also it just falls here.
There, okay.
Yeah.
So I do that for around like 15 balls, then take the season ball and start whacking it. That helps me get the bat through the ball faster.
Right.
Like, and after hitting a heavy ball, this ball feels like nothing and it just flies from your bat. I think that was also the other thing that helped me do that.
That's interesting. When you have a lot of, now you have like before, as compared to before, you would have a lot more shots now because you're able to clear the ground more.
Yeah.
And so you as a batter, how do you judge, like, because you have a lot more shots now, do you always have to play on the merit of the ball? Because now that you know you can clear the ground, that's almost like an easy way out. I can swing the ball, swing the bat, and it might just go for a six.
Correct.
But there are situations where you can't possibly do that. So you as a batter now with a lot more shots, a lot more options around the field because you're also looking at gaps that you didn't before.
Yep.
How do you judge what shot to play at in which situation and like at that time? Because if you get out, then you get out. And so,
I mean, firstly, for me, I keep telling myself that I got to take that risk and not worry about failing. Because the moment I start, and it's happened to me, I start thinking about, I got out playing the shot before, I'll get out again, and I've stopped playing the shots.
Okay.
But what I've failed to realize, and what I'm trying to make myself realize also, that playing the shots is also putting a lot more pressure back on them. Yes, there will be days it won't come off, but the days it comes off, it's going to be a threat to the opposition.
True.
So that is the first thing, that to back myself to play, take it on, take the positive option and take it on. The other thing is that if you've seen Virat Kohli bat, like I really look up to him because he bats on the similar number I bat. The way he bats is very similar in the sense he'll run hard between the wickets. He'll pick gaps. He'll hit boundaries. He'll even hit sixes, but hit sixes in gaps.
Yes.
And I think the answer to that question was right there, that even when I try to hit, I try to pick gaps so that if I hit it too well, it's a 6. If I hit it well, it's a 4. If I just mistime it a little, it's 2. It's still 2. And if I just just play it, I'll still get 1 run, but I won't get out on that ball. So even when I try to hit sixes, I try to hit gaps. And I think that really helps me. And I think the third thing I would say is, for me, playing to the demand, the situation, the team demands according to the situation that's there. I think that really gives me a lot of clarity. At this situation, okay, this is a high risk shot, But is it important at this situation? I mean, if we are like chasing around a ball, maybe not. Or maybe on that day, like things are coming off, this pace on the wicket, I can play a scoop shot, then I will play it. So it is very situational. So I'll try to think what's best for the team. If we are chasing 200, I will go after it from the first ball. So I think I will start playing my shots differently. But if it's like I am the only batter left, I have to play shots positively, but also the most low risk shots.
Right.
And the good part with my batting is that even groundish, I pick gaps. So a lot of time in that such a situation, I try to hit the ball hard, but hit it down along the ground.
Yeah.
So that, I can pick gaps if it's hit well against 4 or, it's no risk cricket.
Right.
And then towards the end, I can obviously plan out the innings, and whenever I need to take a risk, I will take a risk. Or plan one bowler's off day, I'll go after that bowling. So, yeah.
This is so interesting because, so Michael Hussey has an autobiography. I was reading his autobiography a couple of years ago. And he describes his game exactly how you do.
Really?
Like he struggled a lot with 6 hitting. He struggled a lot in the T20 format.
Yeah.
And this is exactly how he went about it. And it's so interesting to find out, like there are multiple cricketers in the international circuit thinking the same way. Like it's interesting that Mike Hussey from a different generation and you also think the same way. I just have
And honestly, I don't read a lot of books. I hear podcasts.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that he actually had the same
it's
thing.
very interesting.
Oh, nice.
Talking about going from your technique, let's set the stage a little bit.
Yeah.
It's India-Pakistan. It's a World Cup game. It's 38 for 1, chasing 150, 5.3 overs. You're walking in. It's a big stage. You're facing Pakistan. I know a lot of cricketers say it's Pakistan, just another opponent. But you also know the media if India loses against Pakistan.
Yeah.
How do you detach yourself from that situation, from everything that's happening? You're walking in at 38 for 1. The first World Cup game for India. How do you go about chasing and being in that situation? Like, how do you go about being present in that situation?
Okay, I'll take you a little back to that moment. That moment still sounds a lot more easier. But at that time, I was coming from such a bad form where in 15 games, I didn't have even a score. I think that was passing 16.
Right.
And I was very low on confidence. I was really low on confidence. I was struggling to find my form. Like, it wasn't that there was one ball that was taking my wicket. Just random things were happening. I was getting out. Sometimes it was down the leg. Sometimes I'm playing cover drive, which is my shot, but I'm getting out on a cover drive. So, and at that moment, I didn't know what to do. Like, just before that game, if you would ask me, I was really under pressure. I was high under pressure. India-Pakistan game. Even our building watchman comes to us and they are like, kisi se bhi haroge chalega, par Pakistan se mat haro. I'm like, theek hai bhaiya, thank you.
Right.
So there was a lot of pressure on me. And
was this pressure that you put on yourself or there were...
It was everything mixed. Like, honestly, I am someone who has a lot of expectations from myself only because I set my standards so high that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad also. And I was just going as a batter. It's all about runs, and when you're not scoring runs, you're very low on confidence. How much ever you try to say, "It's okay, time will pass," you feel it. You care about it so much. You do feel like what am I doing? Why is it not happening? And at that time, I didn't have much, but one thing that really helped me during that time was Rishikesh Kanetkar sir. He was there with us as the India coach then. He's like, what, Jemmy? Right now, all you can do, see, whatever is happening in the match, that's not in your control. You can't control the outcome, but what you can control is your hard work and the hours you put inside. And judge yourself based on that. Because that time I had nothing to, judge myself on. Because I was getting out. Like, every time I walk in, getting out. I'm like, okay, today's the day, going, getting out. I was scared. I was scared of failing. I was scared to go and play a game also because I just felt like I'm going to get out. Like that was what I was feeling at that moment. Yeah. And so then I said, okay, fine, this is what I can do. So I used to work the hardest at that time. Like if there was a 3-hour session, 3 hours I used to bat. If someone else was batting, I used to go in the corner, ask someone to just bowl underarms, do underarms. Just work as hard as possible. Okay, I worked on the ground, good. I hit the gym, good. I did this, good. And that's how I used to judge myself based on that day. And I remember talking about the India-Pakistan game just the night before. I was going for a walk. Usually I do that, where I'm very stressed and anxious. And I'm a bit spiritual also at the same time. So I was going for a walk and kind of like talking to God about everything. And at that time, I just started thinking of all the times I've been in a similar situation, but God has brought me out of it.
Right.
Like, sometimes you see it as failure, but actually no. it was not failure. That time my perspective changed. I started thanking like Jesus. I was like, okay, I was here when I played my Kia Super League. First 3 games, I didn't get any scores. I was very low on confidence. But then you brought me out of that. If you can do it then, you can do it now.
True.
Then I thought about the 100. At the 100, I was in the similar situation where the first ever 100, where I had no scores. I had no scores in the 100. I remember I sat out the entire T20 because I was not performing.
Right.
Came to the 100. In the middle of the night, I woke up before our first game. And because I had a nightmare that I'm dropped from the Indian team. I woke up, I was so anxious, so fearful.
Right.
The entire day I couldn't eat. I tried to just stuff some cereal, just a little bit, just because it's a match day, I need energy. But I couldn't eat because I was so anxious, so nervous. Went in the game, first ever 100 match. 16 for 4, I'm batting on one end. I'm like, God, already I'm struggling. Why?
Yeah.
But from there, he lifted me up and I ended up scoring 93 not out in 42 balls, and we won a game from nowhere. So I thought of that time, like, yes, you brought me out. I've been in a similar situation before. You will bring me out again. And then the other thing that happened during that time was I just started being grateful for even the little I had.
Right.
In the sense, I was so focused on that one aspect of my life that was not working. That was my scores.
Right. Yeah.
But I forgot about the 100 other million blessings that God blessed me with. The fact I was still breathing, it's a blessing.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not injured, that's a blessing. My parents flew from India to South Africa. That was a blessing.
Yeah.
So I just ended up just saying, thank you, Jesus, for getting them safely. Thank you for the food I got to eat today.
Right.
Thank you for the very basic little things I started thanking him for. And I also thanked him for, okay, you brought me out in the past, you'll bring me again. And I think something happened in my perspective. It changed. And I think that was something that really helped me stay a lot more positive going into the game. And I remember when we were playing, just before that game, we had a warm-up game. And Richa and I were batting. And both of us were out of form, badly out of form.
Right. Yeah.
And for some reason in that warm-up game, I forgot about myself. And I just tried to help Richa get her runs.
Right.
And she ended up scoring 91 or something against Bangladesh, a warm-up game, and I ended up getting few runs. But that day, just removing my focus from myself and just trying to help someone else win, I think God blessed me and He gave me my form back. And then comes that India-Pakistan game where again Richa and I were batting together.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And we finished it off together. I remember Richa coming to me. I was like batting there. I was batting on 49. She's like, Jemmy, ek hi run hai. Bahut ball baki hai. Tu 50 kar le. And I don't care about my score. I want to win this match. And then I hit that cover drive. And then... So these things, I mean, if I tell it now, it sounds very different. But when you're actually going through it, it is really hard. But yeah, just to come out of that... And then that India-Pakistan game, the biggest game ever. My parents watching the first ever India-Pakistan game in the stadium. And I was there.
Okay,
and me raising the bat to them and getting the player of the match. I think that was one of the most special moments just because of everything I've been through.
Right.
But at the same time, I think, sometimes we look at such situations as a negative thing.
Right.
But if I look back, it just felt like all those 15 innings prepared me for when it mattered the most. And prepared me for that stage. It changed me a lot more. Like I started working a lot on my preparation, giving a lot more importance and putting focus there than the outcome result. I started looking out for others and helping my teammates when I had nothing, honestly. I was low on confidence, but I started helping others. And just being grateful for the little things. I think so many things happened during that time and it all led to that match. And I think I'm just very grateful that, God chose me to be a part of that match and He did what He did.
That is so interesting because we were actually talking about how you are a player of the big moments. Because it's not the first knockout game where you performed in the Commonwealth Games, in the Commonwealth Games, and the Asian Games.
Yep.
And even in the WPL final and like we were talking about the World Cup, you've always scored in the knockout matches. And it's such a difficult thing to do as a player to perform in a knockout match. So what is it in you that ticks in a knockout game? Is it the pressure? Is it the build-up? What is it about that particular stage?
I think for me, I love such games.
Right.
I love when it's so challenging and everything depends on this one game.
Yes.
And I think even growing up, my dad and Prashant have always told me, you are a match winner and you're going to win big games. I think just so much they've told that I ended up believing it.
Right.
And like now it's a part of me. I get really pumped up for when it matters the most. And I am someone who I always love playing for the team. and I'll do anything for the team. You know, if you want to get me hyped up and motivated, just tell me the team depends on you. I will go and give my life out there.
Right.
If it comes, it doesn't come, I don't know. But most of the times when I have that thought process of doing it for the team, more than not, God always blesses me and things just fall into place. So I think I just love these challenges. I love big stages. I love winning it when it matters the most, because that's what you play for. You play for winning those medals. You play for winning the World Cup, which is, I believe, is going to happen soon.
Yes, of course it is. Yes.
Yeah, so, and I want to be the one doing it there. And every time I work hard also, I do it in such a way that, yes, all other matches are important, but when it matters the most, I want to do it for the team. I want to win it for the team. I want to win it for India. And I think that gets me motivated.
I mean, it is true. You have always almost performed in every knockout game, and especially India needed you to perform. You're able to do it. But you touched upon this earlier. When you're batting with someone, especially in these knockout games, under pressure, are you the kind of batter who doesn't want to talk to the non-striker end, or are you the kind of batter who wants to go to the other end, talk to the non-striker, make sure both of you are on the same page, know what your plans are?
Yeah.
How do you go about? Because in the end, you're batting with someone, and like the team's dependent on both of you.
Correct.
So how do you go about that relationship?
I think it depends on who I'm batting with, because it's also what the person wants.
Yeah,
when I'm batting with Smriti, I mean, Smriti she's more of someone, she knows what she's doing. You know, she like to be calm out there and just be there. I'm someone who's really pumped up, and if I'm maybe batting with Harry D or Richa, you know, I'll be the one who will be like the pumped up person. Okay, let's do this, let's do that. Or even sometimes Harry D, we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
But with both of us, it's fine. So it depends on with who I'm batting, because I got to understand them also. And Smriti also understands that it gets me pumped up. So sometimes she will be the one coming to me and telling me, okay, chal Jemmy, we got to do this. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I think it just depends on who I'm batting with. But I love taking the involvement. I love discussing, okay, this is where we are. Let's have a partnership for next few overs. Then from there, we'll see what we can do.
Right.
So we always have that conversation, and I like doing that. And I think that, yeah, even from the non-strikers end, I think a lot of times you'll see me like just hitting the bat, just cheering my partner, because that gets me also going. And if you think about it, it's 11 versus 2 there.
True.
Yeah.
Especially this finals, actually, also I realized it, because the crowd was against us. Mumbai crowd, only 2 Delhi people batting there. Yeah, and everyone there. But I knew how hard it is, because there's so much pressure. But when I am doing that to my partner and the partner is doing that to me, our focus is just each other and the scoreboard.
Right.
And it just nullifies like everything to that moment. So I think that helps me stay in that zone. That helps us stay in that zone and do what we need to do. So they say you are in a zone.
Yeah.
And I think especially in such moments, I somehow end up getting in such a zone where other thing is just like it's just somewhere in the background playing, but it's just now, okay, what we need to do, and that gets us really pumped.
Rather, before you ask, I mean, I just want to ask you this because it's a silly question, but you guys are Delhi batters, but you've played most of the cricket like in Bombay and against Mumbai Indians in Mumbai. How does that make you feel? Do you think about that like at all? Like when you're playing in Mumbai with a lot of crowd, like the entire crowd is against you, but like it's your home ground.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing about the Mumbai crowd. They love me.
Okay, yeah, fair.
So somewhere that gives me a lot of relief. Yes, they will cheer for Mumbai when they hit a boundary, but if I go and take a blinder, they end up cheering the loudest.
Yeah, true.
So even I go out there, whenever I go, they all are yelling and shouting, and then I start dancing and they get pumped up.
Right.
Somewhere I feel they're on my side.
Right, fair.
So honestly, I don't feel it as much, because I just feel like wherever I am, they just end up loving me so much. Or maybe I'm just assuming in my head, but it works for me.
I'm sure they do. I'm
so
sure
that's
they
good.
do.
Yeah, so I think it's that. So yeah, obviously when I'm batting, it's different because it's a little more different. But I think when I'm batting, I'm in just a different zone. And when I'm playing itself, I'm in a different zone. Like, I can do all that. But when the ball is being bowled, I'm like switched on. I'm in that moment. I'm in that zone. Nothing else around me bothers me. So I think it's just that zone we get into.
It was just a silly question that I wanted to.
No, but
It's something we
it's
had
real,
to get out. Yeah. But I think something you touched upon, the batting zone, like being in a certain zone where you're sort of hitting every ball and all of that. Now, the thing is, you bat at different positions. Like in T20s, you're predominantly number 3. In red ball cricket, you're number 4. And in ODIs, it varies 4, 5. So in
You even
terms
got
of,
your made in 100.
yeah, at number 4. Yeah, so 100 against Thailand. So in terms of the kind of zone you get into, or like how you prep to get into different batting positions, because say in a T20 game, number 3 you would most likely come into bat, say maybe in the 5th over or sometimes the 8th over. Whereas in an ODI, it's a little different. You might have even the same number of overs to play with coming in at 4 or 5, but this landscape itself is different. So how do you prepare specifically for batting positions? Do you do that? Or
I mean, honestly, with firstly, I was an opener.
Yeah.
I started off even in the Indian team as an opener.
Yes.
Then they wanted me to bat at number 3, which is pretty similar to opening. So like, yeah, okay, fine, I can do that. But then when it actually happened, when I started batting at 5 in a T20s, I was not prepared at all. Like I had no clue how it is to bat at number 5. But just the fact that the team wanted me to bat at number 5, I was like, okay, I'm up for it.
Right.
And I will find a way. So whatever preparation was when match me I went, that time only it happened.
Right.
So I think, at that time I didn't know, but then I just tried and played the situation. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm set. Maybe I'm a number 3 batter set. I'm batting till the 12th over. Now what do I do from here? Or what is the team situation? How do I go about? So I think that was one way that I had to figure it out while it happened. But yeah, after that I of course practiced a lot more at different positions. And the thing about number 5 when it happened, I think when we were playing South Africa, when I just came out of my back injury in T20s, I was told well in advance. So I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And I prepared for that, but I was still not sure if because I've never batted at number 5. I don't know how it is. And it's more like a finisher's game also at times. Sometimes you might walk in early, but sometimes you walk in with...
And you have to go on from
you
the
have
ball
to
one.
go on from the first ball. And I didn't know I had that or what. But when I was put in that situation and things happened, I had no option but to, find a way and get those runs for my team. And when that happened, I myself had that, I can do this at number 5. That kind of a moment.
Yeah.
So I think batting at number 5 also brought the best in me, which I didn't know I had. Like you said, to go from the first ball. I didn't know.
Right. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I thought, okay, I'll build, I'll construct, then towards the end. But no. I think going in that moment, I had to go from the first ball and I did it and got a lot of success too. And
Yes,
I
you-
also now have that confidence that wherever I bat, I know I can score runs because I've scored runs at every position.
yeah.
Wherever I bat, I know what needs to be done and how I need to go about while batting my own way and my own style. And I think that gives me a lot of confidence going into any game now because I know from 1 to 11 actually I can bat anywhere.
That is growth, and that is great to be able to know. I mean, from personal experience, again, this is just city level. We played in Bangalore, but I, as an opener, I found it really difficult to bat 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And every time I was 7, 4, 5, 6, I'm like, I can't do this. Like I cannot.
even in gully cricket, if this guy would get anything but opening, he'd cry. He'd straight up cry.
Like, I can't do it. But no, to see a growth in the international stage, first of all, it's difficult because you're always under scrutiny. But to be able to do that, that is
Honestly, it was hard.
Yeah.
At times, even I was like, okay, I've done well at a particular position. I think I felt that for the team, I would be right there.
Right.
But obviously, the team management has put some thought
Yeah,
behind what they're
right.
doing. And me being there. So it took me a while to get used to that.
Right.
And I wanted to do it for the team. But at the same time, it's like, that is something I've always been doing,
Right.
and I feel like I can do the best. But I think, them having that belief and trust in me that I could do it at that number 2, I think helped me a lot more. And it was hard. It didn't come very easy, but I think I was just able to find a way over there too.
I mean, it also shows that the team management trusts you with the fact that you're ready to change and grow as a player
Correct.
at that position. So that's great.
Yeah.
And something that happens with women's cricket a lot is there are a lot of breaks, unfortunately, or there were a lot of breaks. Now there's almost
There's no
back-to-back cricket. Now there's just back-to-back cricket. But like when there is no break between formats, but you have to change batting position in formats, is that something you have to prepare off the field? Like you have to remind yourself, right, now it's, let's say ODS, I'm batting number 5 and I got to do this again.
Yeah.
Is that something you find difficulty with?
Yeah, it is a little hard. But what I do is I do write diaries. So sometimes when I'm a little confused, I just go back to my diary and just see at this position what was my thought process. So I always, whenever I write a diary, I always write, okay, this was what I was thinking. This was my thought process, and that's what helped me do well.
Right.
Like you always do well, but something has led you to do or play a certain way or play a certain shot. What was my mindset then?
Right.
I try to note that down because I
Yeah.
might forget it later. So a lot of time that gives me a lot of clarity, like,
nice.
because like you said, sometimes we have 2 days to switch from a T20 to a test match, which is very different. And actually even my test debut was very interesting. I've never played, I mean, I've played test match, but I think the last I'd played was like 3 years back. That too hardly 4 test matches we would have played in domestic.
Correct.
So I was very nervous and very scared, like how should we play and all that. And I think my coach Prashant, so he called me and then he was like, see, it's just the color of the ball changed and his jersey changed. A cover drive is still a cover drive.
True.
It's an oversimplification.
But that's a good way to look at it.
And he's like, you're still going to look to score. I know it's a test match, doesn't mean you have to be defensive. You're still looking to score. When you have that intent, you'll play the good balls well. And if you get a loose balls, you'll punish it. So he just simplified it for me so much. Then going in, I was very nervous. But I think after playing the first few minutes, I was okay. And then like, hey, this is easy, man. There's more gap actually if you think about it. Everyone's here, everyone's there. So much gap to play with.
It also shows in your number. In 3 test matches you have played, you have an average of 58, which is very, very impressive. And that is also our next question. When you started playing the test match or your first test match, what were you really surprised by? Is it the physical aspect of just staying in the ground for 9 hours? Or is it the mental aspect of being able to focus for 9 hours?
I think for me, one was I was not used to playing continuously for 4 days with that intensity.
Right.
Like, I think that was one thing that I was a bit nervous about it, but I think with the help of our SNCs and physios, we were able to deal with it well. And I think after playing the first match, we got an idea what to expect. But before the first game, I was like, okay, will I even sustain like 4? Because it's 4 long days. We have 100 overs in a day. So it's going to be, and that in Mumbai, it's going to be hot.
That's true.
So I think that was one thing that I was really nervous about. Because also my body takes a lot more time than maybe others to recover. Like because I think because I'm so energetic on the field and I give like a lot more than what I have. I'm not saying others don't do it, but I end up, so my body takes a lot more to recover mentally and physically. But I think when that time came, things just happened and it was not that hard. You just somehow, because you have no other option, you end up figuring out a way.
Do you think, would you, I mean, Alice Perry's talked about how she loves the test format. She loves that format, her favorite format. Do you think you'd want the Indian women's team to play more test cricket? Because we'd love to watch the Indian women's team play more red ball cricket. Would you want to play?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love. I love test match. Like Perry said, I think that is something that, there's so much T20 is all about strike rate, this, that, taking that.
We talk about it all the time.
And 50 overs, you do got to keep a certain rate. At the same time, be there. But test match is like, bat all day, stay there. Nobody's going to tell you anything. Just bat. And that's what you love as a batter. You want to go out there and just bat. Even that fact of just getting on the front foot and defending. I don't think if it, like, when was the last time I actually practiced a defense because of so much white ball cricket we were playing. Like, I do practice it, but just that satisfaction of just playing a ball and not like having so much calculations to do, oh, this I'll do that, and just pure you and the ball and just reacting. I think that was like very soothing.
That is beautiful. I've realized we'd be a player's nightmares because all we do is talk about averages, strike rates. That's all we talk about. But yeah, we'd love to have Indian women's play more test cricket. Also, why we've started this segment to not just talk about women's cricket, but also to like make sure they're doing different things in terms of pushing it out more. And that's why we come to social media. Because
actually, but before you go there, I just want to say like you guys are doing a great job with that. Because I know you guys are getting a lot of progress and a lot of positivity with your podcast. But just to add another women's section, like it means a lot to me. It means a lot to us.
I mean,
yeah, it does.
Thank you so much.
It generally does because it just shows that how much you all value and love women's cricket too. And like you said, you don't see it as okay, a male or a female playing, just seeing it as cricket being played. So that is really cool what you guys are doing, and thank you for doing that.
No, I mean, not the only reason. One of the reasons is we couldn't ever claim to be an Indian cricket channel because we don't cover half of it. And I feel like that's why it was also more important. That's also why it was almost important to have a whole segment for the women's cricket. And I think it's about time people not only start respecting it, but also see the sport. Knowing and seeing the sport as it is and not male and female.
Right.
And that's where we jump to social media. In the last couple of years, you do put yourself out there in social media, which is great. We love to see that. We love to see the personality of the player and not just I mean, there are a lot of players who don't do that, which is fine, but you do that, and it's great to see. But it also comes with a lot of slack. A lot of people criticize a lot of players and talk about you should just play, focus on your playing. Why aren't you focusing? Why are you doing this? Why are the dances? Whatever. How do you balance that? How do you, first of all, do you look at the comment section at all? Do you listen to the outside world?
I try as much as possible not to, but sometimes if you're just like a normal person wanting to just scroll on Instagram, it just pops up. So honestly for me, it did take me a while to get used to it, because when I just entered into international cricket, that's when the media also started picking up. That's when social media started coming into the picture for women's cricket, because they just won the 2017, I'm saying under 17, no, 2017 World Cup. Sorry, they played the finals. And
beat Australia.
From, and from there, like, we lost to England, I think.
But beat Australia in the semi-finals.
Yeah, beat Australia in the semis, correct. And then it started picking up, and that's when I made my debut after that. So a lot of limelight was there on women's cricket. And I walked in, I did really well also, like debuting and stuff. But then I thought, okay, fine, people love me, they love my videos, I'll just put it out, be normal. And they did accept me a lot. They loved, but when things didn't go my way, which every cricketer has, it backfired on me. And like, okay, this world can be cruel. I'm just a 17-year-old girl, and I just want to.
That's true.
I just want to just enjoy. And so that's when it hit me, and that's when
First of all, that is insane. I mean, you were 17, by the way. And now it's 25. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, actually. Yeah. But I think that was that moment where, okay, I was like, this is getting a bit toxic for me also. Like, I should not be, honestly, if someone knew me, I was not on social media the entire time. I used to always switch it off during tournaments, because I just didn't want to like read comments unnecessary and stuff like that. But then you somehow get to know, and then it hurt me a lot. I'm like, oh no, they think that about me. And all these things. Because I was a kid. And then it took me a while to realize and get that balance that, you know, it's easy for someone to sit 100 miles away behind their phone, type random stuff and judge you when they have not been in your place.
True.
Like, nobody has known the tears you've cried, the sweat you've sweated at the gym, at the ground, the hours and hours of effort you've put. And if I ask myself, every time I'm out there, I've not given less than 100%. And I know if I've done that, who are they to judge me? With all due respect, everyone have their opinions.
Fair,
but who are they to judge me? And I think that got a lot more balance. I still do, at times, you know, feel bad when such things happen. But then I think it's just, I just realized, no, I've done my work honestly. I've done everything honestly. What has to happen will happen. And I'm just going to kind of shut the noise. Keep it aside. And I think one of the best ways I do that, and I can do that, is to just ignore it. So that's why on tours, I avoid going on Instagram or Twitter. I just ask my managers to post whatever needs to be posted, because sometimes I have to do that. But apart from that, I mean, I'm very focused when I practice.
That's good.
That is good. I mean, it's also not a lesson, but something for us to think about, because, I mean, we make a lot of technical videos, statistical breakdowns and stuff. And we criticize players.
I mean, that's your job, see. I respect that.
But we also sometimes, for the lack of better word, like not think about what a player goes through, because we are not in that position.
Correct.
So it's also a lesson for us to actually think about before we make whatever we do. No,
but see, the good thing is that in a way, we've spoken about it as friends also. Somewhere I like people criticizing us. That means they are following.
True. That's true.
And they like kind of care about what we do. So I think that's a good positive to have.
That's what my dad says about us. If you get any negative comment, it's good. At least they care enough to hate you, which is nice.
But on that itself, okay, so suppose there's a scenario where, say, a teammate of yours, does it ever happen that they see something about you on social media and then they come to you and say, this is what I saw about you, like a meme or something? Does that happen?
I mean, in a fun way.
In a fun way?
Yeah, we keep taking each other's cases that way. It happens. It happens. Everyone's on social media, honestly. Everyone's up to date. But it's sometimes some of the memes are too funny and hilarious, but all taken in the right spirit. So,
of course.
Gotcha. Cool. And okay, so this question's kindly different from the kind of flow we have, but it's something I want to ask, and it's something also because of the development of women cricket and how far it's come, like with the WPL, the WBBL and everything that's in play. So we have someone in our team who's played cricket at a young level. Nikita, shout out to Nikita.
She's our women's Indian.
Where's she? She should have been here. What are you guys doing? Oh, I'm
that's
kidding.
true. It's quite unfortunate. She's in Hyderabad.
Oh, okay.
But so she's part of our team now, helping us with women's cricket.
Oh,
She's
wow.
in it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And so she's played cricket at a decent level, and
Okay.
she's told us, and that's what we've also seen when we ourselves are in cricket coachings, that a lot of women's cricket at the age group level happens with the boys.
Yep.
Right. And as you sort of progress through maybe the under 16s and the under 19s, that's when you play in matches where there are women completely and all of that. Like you have proper teams with women in it. So growing up for you, you also have played a lot of cricket with the boys. How has that affected your growth as a cricketer in those early years? And do you think that is something that helps women's cricket at grassroots levels? Or do you think there is something more that can be done?
Yeah, I think when I started playing, I had no option but to go to a net full of boys to go and practice. And because at that time, women's cricket was not known. Now I feel like those old people say, "Hamare zamane mein." You know? No, but that was how it was. And I used to go with my brother Ellie to play at MIG club, and MIG was so nice to me. Even till now, I'm like obviously a member of their club, and they give me the ground wherever I want. But at that time, to do it when nobody was doing it, they accepted me in a boys' club where nobody would do it at that time.
That is a big deal.
That's a big
that actually was a big deal at that time. So I started playing cricket there, and there were a lot of positives to it, you know, because just imagine एक लड़के को boundary मार रहा है. The guy is going to come next ball and bowl a bouncer or do something because it hurts their ego and that too in front of their friends. So I think that's got the competitive spirit in me also a lot more. And also the skills of a boy is like they've played so much cricket. That's why it's so much more developed. And I think that helped me get my skills higher and get better at it. But the only problem like I faced was that no boy would come and talk to me because whoever came and spoke to me, they should start teasing them with me. So I used to like literally everyone used to do warm up and you put your hand on their shoulder and you like swing your legs. Nobody used to come there. So I used to alone this imaginary friend and just swing my legs like that. So that was the only thing I didn't like about it. But I think now it's very different. I mean, that was at that time. Now I have a lot of cricketing friends who are male people who are there. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. But I think it also helps you develop a lot more faster and, get more sharper, more quicker in your instincts also and in the way you move and you make your shot selections and everything. But that has definitely helped me get better. And even now, a lot of times I still go and practice with guys. Like I do practice with girls and like taking nothing away from it. But I think that also helps me get my game higher. And I know sometimes I play like if I play the Ranji boys or the under 19 Mumbai boys because they're very good quality bowlers. Mumbai, so I know if I can play them well, it gives me a lot of confidence going and playing matches with the girls or playing international cricket. So I think that does help me.
That is so cool. Jemmy, I mean, I could do this for hours and hours, but of course we don't have hours and hours. So first of all, thank you so much for taking so much of your time and giving us so much of your time and being here. We do have a small gift for you, which we will give off camera. No, but that's fine. We'll give it off camera.
There's nothing here, by the way. I'm kidding.
It's in the other room. So we'll give you a small gift. But thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, especially the technical bit. Like I was having so much fun just listening to you. And you should do it more often. You had a podcast which you did stop, and you should continue doing it.
Sorry, guys. Just no time.
No, but just fair. But Jemmy, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being part of this. Again, a shout out to Nikita who helped us with all of this.
Everything, basically.
Unfortunately, she's not here. If you guys, I mean, of course, you know who she is.
Yeah, Nikki, I'd love to meet you, man. Well done. Good job.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
awesome.
But you guys are doing a great job too. Love what you're doing. Love how y'all have such podcast. I know because I've tried doing podcasts and maybe we stopped. You know why? It's hard. No, I'm kidding. But like the amount of effort goes behind doing a podcast, the research and the questions and everything, just the way to we've not met in person, but just to break the ice and just talk, have conversations. It's really hard, but I think you guys do it like so well. So well done on that. And I will be following a lot more. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, so I will be following a lot more, except the average bit and stuff.
That's
all that. So you guys tell me, okay, which one I should listen to and which one not.
We'll do that.
No, but great job.
That's so nice of you. That's so sweet of you. Like, I don't think we could thank you enough. We'll again send a lot of thank you messages after you leave. So that'll also come your way.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't subscribed to us, like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Like we said, we have a Monday episode every week with the Tuesdays and Fridays that we already do. If you haven't followed us on socials, everything is in the description. Go check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.
Oh, peace.
Yeah, great.